Comics Plus, what's going on? Let me know how you feel. Venom. We're about to do the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer breakdown. Let's go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars.
Hi.
I'm Eric Voss. In Venom Let There Be Carnage is a new trailer that lets there be plenty of carnage. With Venom doing an impression of us whenever Sony releases a No Way Home trailer.
Oh shit, that is the Raimi one.
Get vaccinated and we can revert coming this fall to coming this September and save Christmas by keeping No Way Home on schedule too.
Sure, I'll drink that Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna break down this trailer frame by frame for all the hidden details that you might have missed, including the ways this film will fuse or refuse to fuse to Sony's other Spider-Man titles.
All
This
right.
video is brought to you by OnePlus and their Nord line of phones. They have a wild new launch video that you're gonna have to see to believe,
Ooh.
and I'm gonna be reacting to it later this video. We open with Eddie on his Ducati. He did have a motorcycle in the first movie, but not a Ducati. And notice how Venom controls his hands as he drives,
Yes,
similar to how Eddie let Venom Jesus take the wheel in his previous chase. Now, Eddie's helmet is a matching red with a black visor, and his motorcycle jacket is black with blue stripes and one red stripe, all of which could be part of a color scheme to reflect his relationship with Cletus Cassidy and
I
Carnage.
see.
Venom in the comics is black with a blue
Fair
outline
enough.
often, and Carnage is of course red.
I'm just going to point out I really have always loved this guy's artwork and shit. Like, wait, I think that's the same. It may not. I think this is John Romita Sr. I want to say Senior. It could be Junior, but I know his style has changed over the years. But no. Sorry. I think this is Mark Bagley. Yeah, this is Mark Bagley before he started changing his style with the Ultimate line. I've always enjoyed this is from the Amazing Spider-Man comic line. Beautiful work. I love it. I've always thought about getting a tattoo of this art style.
Red with a black outline. And this movie revises Carnage's origin story from Eddie's symbiote producing an offspring that fuses with his cellmate, Cletus Cassidy, to instead now be the result of Cletus biting Eddie and getting Eddie's symbiote-infused blood in his system.
I have tasted blood before, and that is not it. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine.
And maybe this color design is that you got your chocolate, my peanut butter, you got your peanut butter, my chocolate idea, with Carnage's early form still having that black in his face, before he appears to go all red later on, almost like he begins similar to the 1999 Mummy, who still must feast to reach his final complete form. Meanwhile, after the bite, those bits of red in Eddie's costuming are reflecting the way Cassidy has left him with some internal psychological bleeding. Venom chews on this tired chew toy marked Snooki, not spelled like Nicole Polizzi spells it, but like Snooki's Cookies. Also looks like a tire that might have been used as a buoy on the side of a boat that might have been named Snooki. Eddie warns Venom that they'll be dragged off to Area 51. It's interesting of Eddie to mention Area 51 existing in this universe because Area 51 was the subject of a blog post on J. Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle website that was released by Sony. Now, as we still wait for a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home and speculate on the ways Loki and Sylvie busted up the MCU's sacred timeline into a multiverse, we gotta admit, J.K. Simmons showing up as J. Jonah Jameson in Far From Home with no explanation could be one way alternate universe crossovers could have already been happening in the MCU, and thus could signal Sony and Marvel's plans to justify how these crossovers are happening. That's not to say Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just Sony doing Sony
but with
stuff.
a title like Spider-Man No Way Home, I think Sony might try to hint that it could be kind of this nexus point where on one side of a multiversal portal could be other Sony universes, like the Raimi-verse, like the Mark Webb universe, and like this Venom corner of the universe. We visit the Ravencroft Institute, a prison and lab where super criminals are experimented on in the Marvel Comics. An East Coast version of this showed up in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Electro was briefly kept. We see this woman with silver hair walking down the hallway. She actually later appears outside of Shriek's cell, closing the hatch that's presumably to prevent Shriek's sonic blasts from getting out. This woman also showed up outside the chamber in the last trailer. This could be Dr. Kafka, who runs the Ravencroft Institute in the comics. Now, Shriek is Francis Barrison, who teams up with Carnage in the Maximum Carnage comic that seems to be partly inspiring this movie.
One of the best video games ever, man. Shout outs to those that played it back then with the red cartridge as well on the Genesis.
movie's plot, she has the ability to emit these powerful sonic blasts. And considering such frequencies tend to destabilize symbiotes from their hosts, I assume she will end up being the crucial weapon against Venom, or Carnage, or both. Notice how she has one blue eye, a nod to the blue mark that is over her eye in the comics. But mostly she is reading the Daily Bugle, and the headline, I think, reads Cletus Cassidy dead. Maybe Cletus and Francis had a previous relationship, and when Cassidy escaped, he could have been falsely reported as dead, with guards and media either not understanding what that Carnage transformation was, or technically this transformation occurred after he flatlined in the execution room. And when I do a breakdown of this movie, that will be the point I pitch a batshit theory that the whole movie takes place in Cletus Cassidy's flickering fantasies in the moments of his death. Venom breaks Eddie's nose.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please let me fix it so I can fix it again. You are Medusa.
And you can see how Eddie's crooked nose straightens itself from the inside, similar to the way Venom straightened Eddie's broken limbs in the first movie. Then this crime scene where Eddie is being interviewed by media. Now, Eddie's interviews with Cletus Cassidy seem to have led to discovery of bodies of Cletus Cassidy's past victims, making the police look bad and making Eddie more of a star for the Daily Bugle. And we see Eddie working on that story on his laptop, Daily Bugle West Coast Edition, since of course it is based out of New York. Inside the mind of serial killer Cletus Cassidy. We get inside the mind of Cletus Cassidy, the famous serial killer of our country, in this exclusive report that delves into his dark past, investigating his motives and madness. The masthead and logo are the same as the design we saw in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, unlike the InfoWars design of the website in the MCU. Now, of course, the Raimiverse already had a Venom, and the Andrew Garfield Mark Webb had a Daily Bugle and a J. Jonah Jameson, who appeared only in angry emails in Peter Parker's inbox. On the left side of the screen, you can see that Eddie has an actual account with the Daily Bugle server, meaning that he is working for them full time now. Among his notes are some of Cletus Cassidy's drawings, with a tree and a church similar to the sketches he made on the walls of his prison cell. And on the tree is the quote, "To thee the strife was given between the suffering." This is a line from Prometheus, an 1816 poem by English poet Lord Byron, which is a celebration of the Titan from Greek mythology, who stole fire from the gods to benefit mankind. It romanticizes his defiant struggle against the gods' wrath as he brought mortals and immortals closer in status. Similarly, with a title like Let There Be Carnage, a paraphrase from the book of Genesis, Cassidy sees himself as a god figure, seeking to immortalize himself by stealing a power that came from the heavens.
You know, I almost feel like new rock stars should write the scripts, because the material is there. It just seems like it's not really that illustrated well enough to, like, you could actually make it seem fairly deep when it's presented deeper like that. I don't know. I just think it's so interesting though, like when him explaining it like that, it's like, okay, damn. Venom's a pretty deep story here. I mean, I know they're Easter eggs, but at the same time, you know, you could actually take that and make it a little bit stronger instead of like this slapstick kind of stuff that's we're seeing. But, you know, somebody also pointed out that Sony is just really bad at cutting their trailers up. And not to mention releasing them. The YouTube compression. I saw some clips of the trailer on Twitch and Twitter, actually. And they looked beautiful, but they just look kind of blurry on YouTube. That compression rate. Somebody's got to let Sony know what's up.
Similarly, on his prison cell wall is a quote from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, title also known as The Modern Prometheus, which was written in the same English Romantic literary era in 1818, exploring a similar subject matter of mankind defying mortality and producing this suffering, lonely Promethean figure. Now, OnePlus and their Nord line have made a name for themselves as the affordable giant killers of the smartphone world. They just launched their latest and most important product, the Nord 2 phone, with an insane launch film called Nord of the Ring. And of course, thanks
that's
to
actually kind of funny. Okay,
they're known for
I'll check that out.
A Hollywood
later.
Action movie, ridiculous special effects. Oh my god,
that is kind of cool. I'll check that out later.
Oh shoot, that scientist in the also noticed
and back where we go.
As well, this latest craze of Cassidy bites Eddie.
All right.
Genre in documentary series and podcasts, society really has this dark fixation with famous sadistic psychopaths. Cassidy bites Eddie on his hand, the same place that Peter Parker famously gets bitten to get his powers. Though
Okay.
in this case, the power transfer goes to the biter. And in the other trailer, Cassidy kills a spider as he writes these postcards to Eddie, which looks like he's writing it in his blood, which might be how this relationship grew prior to cross-contamination. Cassidy helps Eddie grow in his journalistic fame, so now Cassidy feels like Eddie owes him something. Carnage stops Cassidy's execution. You can see it leaking across his eyeballs in these red ink stains, actually similar to the bluish-blackish ones in Eddie's eyes in the previous film, and then bursting out of his chest and his hands in these red tendrils. And listen closely to this moment. Yeah, there's that little squeak at the end of the roar that you can also hear later during the prison shootout. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a pained whine released by a wounded animal, but rather a high-pitched demonic squeal made by something whose vocal cords are mid-transformation, like a windpipe being turned inside out. And Cassidy morphs into Carnage. I love how it first drains his eyeball to form this bulbous form of a Carnage eyeball, all while tugging out the side of his mouth that he opens to release Carnage's thick, gross tongue, as if this is all tearing out from Cassidy's scream. He spends a lot of time in this church, which seems like a nod to the level of the Maximum Carnage game. From the more recent Absolute Carnage series, which featured Carnage taking over a cult worshipping the symbiote Clintar deity of Null and puppeting the unfortunate homeless of San Francisco as these drones as he forms his Church of Carnage.
Oh
now,
my.
the previous trailer showed Stephen Graham's character, Detective Mulligan, in his office with a map of San Francisco's Tenderloin district, known for its high population.
Isn't that hybrid?
Few incident markings on those
hybrid
blocks.
or toxin?
By the way, it is believed that Mulligan could be Patrick Mulligan,
Yeah.
the cop who in the comics gets infected with an offspring of Carnage to become the character Toxin. Carnage helps Cassidy escape prison. You can see as guards are closing in, one of Carnage's tendrils in the background suspend one dude high in the air. These guards shoot at him and he opens a hole in his chest to let the bullets sail through and hit the guards behind him. But this also shows how Cassidy isn't like floating inside
What's up, Bomb Squad?
Carnage, wearing him like a suit, but rather his flesh is fully infused with the symbiote matter. That's why Venom freaks out when Carnage is a red one. It signals to him that Cassidy has fully given over his blood to the symbiote, making them one, a stronger and more lethal connection than the give and take of Eddie and Venom's relationship. Carnage pins his prison guard and gives him a Franchi. I can't really tell if he's feeding on his organs or using the spiky tendril of his tongue to whisk it all up. And then this title card says this fall. A bit worrisome since the release date is supposed to be September 24th in the US, September 15th in the UK. Maybe some of us a bit concerned that maybe rising cases of the Delta variant might delay the release. No, this does not mean Spider-Man No Way Home will get pushed. I just think Sony is keeping their options open for Let There Be Carnage. Carnage is tendrils wrapped around. It looks like it's convertible there. Now, Cassidy appears sitting next to Francis in this car in the other shot. And then there's a third shot showing Francis using her sonic blast to blow out the windshield at someone while pieces of Carnage are wrapped around this car.
Oh, wow.
This is all part of their escape from the Ravencroft Institute, which you can also see as Carnage's arms explode out of the hatch of Francis's cell, and another shot where it tears down that same Ravencroft hallway. Then a close-up shows a framed photo of Annie with a cat from the first movie named Mr. Belvedere. Now, the hand holding that frame has that engagement ring, making this Annie, so maybe Eddie returned this photo that he had of Annie as a way of signaling that he is moved on, and that he's okay with her engagement to Dan. And then this great moment where Venom reacts to Carnage.
Oh, shit!
Where you going?
That is a red one!
You need to come out right now. I will let you eat everybody!
Promise!
I promise!
Oh, yeah!
Yes, it's a bit similar to Hulk's refusal to take the reins from Bruce Banner in Infinity War, but here, yeah, Venom clearly fears Carnage and Cassidy's pure blood symbiosis compared to his weaker hold on Eddie. Now, I love this detail. Eddie's Mumford Phys Ed department shirt with his Detroit Lions jacket is a nod to another famous Eddie, Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow.
Everybody, he is referring to multiple enemies that they're about to face, and if you look closely on the far end of the church on the altar beside Cassidy,
oh, there is somebody else.
Figure standing beside him. That must be the final form of Shriek. We also get this pretty gnarly close-up of Carnage's head. Notice the texturing on his tongue, all these black pockmarks like it is decaying, and then the contouring of his eye socket. It is jagged, just like it is in the comics. Like someone took their fingers and dipped it in white paint and just smeared it on the back of his head. Then we see Cassidy doing a little victory dance outside San Quentin, and then we're out robbing what looks like Mrs. Chen's store. The cashier could be her
Right,
son.
I
but
thought
more
so.
importantly, this means Cassidy is in Eddie's neighborhood. Security feed on the screen nearby shows outside, including that red convertible that he's been driving around in. And then this montage of the fight between Venom and Carnage. Carnage's appendages pin Venom against the wall of a church, putting him in a Christ pose, meaning he might try to execute him via crucifixion in this church. It's a bit appropriate there. Eddie and Annie meet at that restaurant that they dined at in the 2018 film, and her engagement ring. If you compare that to the one Eddie gave her in the previous film, now that center
It's
stone
much
is surrounded
bigger.
by a double halo and has stones on the band.
Ooh.
It's just a way more expensive version of the ring that Eddie got her, which might be why Eddie and Venom take it so personally. You can support New Rockstars by checking out our many great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at
Woo!
EABoss. Follow and
Okay.
subscribe to New Rockstars. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, man. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, New Rockstars actually make me more like in the beginning. After watching that trailer, I'm like, you know what? I think I can wait. I can wait for a Netflix version of it. Like, I just was not down with what was presented in the trailer, but watching the New Rockstars break it down and seeing how, well, bringing out the sort of depth of those Easter eggs and putting them in your face like that makes it actually all that more entertaining, I suppose. So, you know, what Venom, the first Venom got like 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, but was very favorable for the box office, right? So who knows? I mean, the trailer, again, like somebody said earlier in the comments of the trailer reaction, was the Sony's just not good at trailers, at making good trailers via compression, YouTube compression, editing, all of that. But the actual movie itself, if you kind of know what you're going in for, it'll maybe be entertaining. So my particular Venom's quite different, but I also understand that the Venom that I'm familiar with and that has traditionally been presented in most media, it just cannot exist in this particular Sony universe. You need to do something a little bit different so it'll help reflect how different the personalities are with Venom and Carnage. And we shall see very soon. Well, whenever it comes out. Red Dread Nation, stand up, speak up. Let me know what you guys think about all this. If there's anything more you want to add into it, I'll let you know. I don't know what that thumbnail was earlier where somebody else put like Loki pointing out on Carnage's tongue, but we're all right. That's enough. Later.